we had an opportunity to go beyond the familiarity that some buildings, which have been all the time around us, which have framed our childhoods and so on, have seemed to us so familiar that they didn't seem to raise any questions. But little by little, with Professor Bloom, with Professor Blair, we have been, if I can say, uncovering aspects that raise questions. And this is, I think, very important for the scientific approach or humanities approach, if we can say. It's not, if I can say, just describing what is there, but it's trying to understand what is, to put it in context of time, of space, of styles of building, and so on. So today we are continuing in the same way, and well, it may be a little more comfortable for us to have this screen before us rather than just behind, but this is for us. I think you are the luckiest one. You can look at things directly on the screen behind. So I'll give the ground to Professor Jonathan Bloom to continue the work that we have begun yesterday and day before, and to prepare ourselves to the discussion, to the overall discussion for tomorrow, in which we'll attempt to draw some broad conclusions or some broad questions that need, or to identify rather, some directions that need further work or further questioning or further exploration for work in the future, and which may interest some of us more than others or whatever. So, Professor Bloom, if I may.
Thank you very much. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. Spachir. It's been a wonderful 2 days so far, and I hope we continue. The first day, just to recap, the first day we looked at the sort of general question of what we normally call Islamic art, or here I guess we should call the art and architecture of Muslim societies. But again, that's a very long and expression that doesn't roll off the tongue easily. And explored all sorts of questions about that, what it means, and sort of how to place the art of one particular country, that is Morocco, in that context. And then yesterday, we looked at one particular art, that was architecture. And in one or two periods, in one part, not the whole history of it, in one place, that is the Maghreb, and particularly in Morocco. And I think we saw how it shared some features with other areas, the architecture of other areas, but it went on its own direction. Why do you think, why is it? Why could you say in the early years that there might have been one type of Islamic art or architecture, and then in later years, the art of Morocco was different from that which one found in Iran or India? Why would that be?
Cultural influences.
Influences? Ooh, yeah. Cultural. Well, what happened? I mean, you only need to think about Islamic history, and that there was an Abbasid caliphate in the beginning that theoretically ruled an enormous area and may have been able to spread its culture over a large area. But as time passed, this enormous empire, as it were, broke up into different areas, and so each one went on its own way. And of course, they shared certain things. They shared a religion. They shared certain features associated with the religion, but they also started going their own way, and we have these local practices which integrate. Why did I start with architecture? Why did I present architecture first and not, I don't know, painting? Yeah.
Maybe architecture is something physical, visible,
right,
and lasting for a long time.
And anything else? Yeah.
I think it's also the most dominant art in the Muslim Arab world, because paintings only appeared after the post-colonial era, because it's not original in the culture. or
Okay,
the region.
yeah.
I think that painting itself falls within the scope of architecture. To my knowledge, architecture is seeing, is appreciating, and part of it is painting.
But no, I mean, I think that paint, we're talking about the easel painting or book painting or something. I think, I mean, how much does a building cost to build? You know?
X dirhams.
Yeah, you know, lots and lots. I mean, that there's this notion of like the social cost, that whoever is paying for it, that the investment, the societal investment in building a building is far greater than making a ceramic bowl. And so, I mean, I started with this because I thought I think it is the most important form of art. Now, how did I present the material to you? What was the sort of basic methodology? What did I start with first?
Starting with what is conceptual, about what is Islamic
Well, no, I think we're just within architecture. Like, what examples did I show first, and what did I show last? How did I move from the beginning to the end? Yes?
It's like moving from general to specific. You are narrowing down your own, again, materials you would like to analyze with us. Yeah. Moving from a general concepts, general regions to, again, Maghreb, then specifically Morocco,
Right.
and Kutubiyya exactly.
And within the Maghreb, how did I do it? From... Yeah, but what was the... There are... One, we have geographical spread, and what do we have? The timeline? Exactly. So I didn't start the way an archaeologist would start, at the top level and dig down. And starting with, you know, let us say the Mosque of Hassan II, and work backwards to how did it become the way it is. But rather I started with the earliest evidence that we had and worked forward.
Why?
Why? Why did I do that? What's my profession? What am I? An art historian. And what's art or architecture? And what's the second part? History. You know, and that's what I do. That's what I do. I work through history, and I look at the evidence and I put it in historical sequence, and then see if I can see any patterns of development and change. And so that's, you know, and so let's see, what else? Okay, now some of these buildings were very plain, very modest, and some of them were very decorated, and some parts of buildings were very decorated. So what kind of things were decorated, and where was most decoration focused? Where, yeah?
The most decorated focused on the mosques, since the mosques, I mean, have a symbolic image among Muslims, because it's a place of worship and so on.
Right. And where in the mosque? Outside? Inside? Inside. And where inside? Right. Exactly. And?
The ceiling?
Mihrab. The minaret is the one part, the outside, which gets decorated. And why is that? Why? I mean, you all drove here or walked here and stuff, and you look across the landscape of Rabat, and you see these villas and trees and houses, and then what sticks up? Up into telephone towers, I know that. And what else? The minaret. Right. And why do they stick up so high? Yes, exactly, that they are a symbol, that they become a symbol of the mosque below. They're a sign that, in effect, points downward to the mosque. And that is, you know, so there are all these ways of reading. Okay. today I want to turn to something, going from the very general, we're going to turn to something very specific, which is one particular beautiful thing, which is a minbar from a mosque. It's made of wood, and we'll have more to say about wood. And what I think is interesting, Sheila mentioned the other day that we have a hierarchy of arts. Generally, people think that architecture is the most important art.